night live in Lexington, you guys. My name is Kathryn Kauffman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night show. This is where we discuss what and who we are in this journey called life. Hey to all you guys over here on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. We'll wait a couple minutes for everybody to get their notifications and jump on the live stream, because it takes a minute or two for everybody to realize that I am streaming on Monday night, even though it's every Monday night at 7. Oh shoot. So what's happening here in Lexington? Well, beautiful weather, number one. We didn't have any rain today. I was shocked. I thought for sure that we'd have a little bit of rain, but we didn't. However, it may be coming tomorrow. So David's down in the garden right now putting out the third round of tomato plants, because we keep having these 30-degree nights, and even though it's not freezing, these tomato plants do not like it. And so I think I've killed probably, I want to say, at least 15 tomato plants already. So the track record is not looking good right now. Hey to my beautiful neighbor, Miss Amber Benteen, and a happy recent birthday for you. Hope it was a good one. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Pleiades and the Pleiadians, okay? Before we get started on that, I want to remind everybody that's tuned in that I offer a daily psychic and moon astrology forecast on Patreon for only $3 a month. So I'll tell you what, I will put a link in the comments really quick if you're interested. It really gets you ahead of the game for the day, because like if let's say the moon astrology is in Scorpio, and psychically I pick up that it's going to be a highly argumentative day and that people are not going to get along, like if you know about that ahead of time, that really helps a lot, because then when people are upset or nasty with you, it doesn't make as big of an impact on you if you know ahead of time. So check out the Patreon page. Also, like if you go to get one of the higher tiers on my Patreon page, you're going to get free online teaching of some of my best courses. And you're also going to get, on the top tier, you're going to get access to a live stream once a month where you can ask me any question you want, any psychic question, any mediumship question you can ask on there. But you have to be a tier 3 for at least 3 months before you can attend the live streams. So let's get on to our topic, shall we? The Pleiadians. Who are they? Now, I want you to know that most of the stuff that you see online is going to be channeled information, and they get into a lot of specifics. What I'm going to present to you tonight is the only documented stuff that we have. I'm not going to present any channeling, because anytime that you do channeling, it is subject to error on the channel. And, there are too many channelings going on that are in direct controversy towards the other one. You can kind of say a channel is accurate, maybe, when it agrees with another person's channel that they have no relationship, they don't know of each other, and, if they get similar or maybe identical information in the channel, what that does is it lends a little bit more validity to the information that they're getting. However, the information that I have seen on these different channels varies dramatically. And so that kind of detracts from the validity of it. So what we're going to look at tonight is strictly what's documented, and what is like passed down from antiquity. So the Pleiadians are self-defined, and when it says self-defined, what that means is it's channeled as a collective of multi-dimensional spirits from the Pleiades star system. The group's mission is to assist humanity with the process of spiritual transformation. Now, that is channeled, but it is validated by historical accounts of different populations' folklore, that's what their mission is, or their purpose in contact with us. So what we're going to look at is the history, the facts, and the myths surrounding the Pleiadians. Okay, now we're going to look at the Pleiades. All right, let me check some stuff really quick, just to make sure that we are streaming like we're supposed to. Yeah, I'm not sure of the settings. I might have done something wrong, y'all. Oh well, we'll figure it out later, right? We will figure it out later. I'm just making sure that I didn't make an obvious blaring mistake like I usually do. Okay, carrying on. These are the facts and the myths. Also called the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades are a group of stars in the Taurus constellation. Astronomers refer to the group as M45. The designation comes from the work of 18th century French astronomer Charles Messier, who identified and cataloged astronomical objects at a distance of 444.2 light years. The closest star cluster to Earth, the Pleiades, are used to plot distance using a method called the cosmic distance ladder. So we actually use the Pleiades to kind of navigate through our sky. The cluster's brightest star is a cyclone. I can't say it right. It looks like cyclone, but I know it's not cyclone. Alcyone, judged to be 7 times brighter than our sun. Can you even fathom that or imagine that it is that bright? There are actually more than 1,000 stars within the cluster. That's unbelievable. And under optimal conditions, around 14 stars may be seen with the naked eye. And when they say naked eye, I think what they're talking about is with some kind of assistance, maybe telescope or your phone, accentuating things. Most, when looking at the cluster without magnification, see 6 stars. And that's why I say, I think that when they say when there's optimal conditions, around 14 stars may be seen with the naked eye, what they're meaning is, maybe with a telescope. Because without assistance, you really only see 6 stars. But there are actually 7, and the lost 7th stars is a common theme in multiple mythologies, including Indonesian, African, Australian, European, and Native American. So there's got to be something to this if all of these communities are referring to the Pleiades in some way, shape, or form. So that was Indonesian, African, Australian, European, and Native American. So there has to be factually something to this, right? Now, many cultures have stories about the Pleiades and what they mean or what they represent. And so, historically, this is kind of what we look at. For example, Cherokee legends teach that Native Americans originated long ago in the Pleiades and assert that indigenous people are on the earth strictly as star seeds with a mission of bringing light and knowledge. So the Native Americans associate the Pleiadians with trying to assist in this light and knowledge. The Navajo call the Pleiadian star system or star cluster the sparkling suns. And the Iroquois they actually petition the constellation to receive happiness in their life. So they almost reverence it in some kind of deity type of situation. The Lakota and Dakota people say their ancestors are from the Pleiades. So there's so many cultures that reference that we're from, like our beings are from as the Pleiades, and that we are star seeds or offshoots of these people. Now, this is some channeled information, but I want to bring it to you, but I want to preface it with this is channeled information. So according to the Complete Guide to Aliens, the Pleiadians have a distinctive Scandinavian appearance. They have 700 to 800 year lifespans, and they are anywhere from 7 to 9 feet tall, silver hair, silver to white parched skin, and almost glowing like. Okay, now that's channeled information. We don't have anything specific in folklore that tells us exactly what they look like that I have read. And so I read quite a bit of stuff before presenting it to you to see if there was any information about what the presentation was. But really all of the presentation is, I think, channeled information. Now, here's some more historical stuff. In ancient Greek cosmology, the Pleiades were the 7 daughters of pre-Olympian Titans, Titan Atlas, and Pleione, a nymph. According to the myth, the Pleiades, named Maya, Electra, Aclone, Taigit, Sileno, Merope, and Asterope, were dedicated to Artemis, the Greek goddess of the moon and the hunt. Okay, so they're dedicated to her. Orion and the hunter had been placed in the sky along with the scorpion that killed him by Zeus prior to his death. Orion saw the 7 sisters and set off to capture them. Zeus, in pity for their plight, turned them into stars and placed them in the heavens. Artemis was furious with Zeus and the mortal Orion. She convinced Zeus to send a monstrous scorpion to attack Orion. The hunter died from the stings. After his death, Zeus placed Orion in the sky in eternal pursuit of the sisters and perpetual flight from the scorpion, or Scorpio constellation. The cluster was also used by ancient Mediterraneans to signal the beginning and the end of sailing season. I found that was really interesting. So they used that particular constellation as a signifier for when the men should go out to sail and when they should come back or come back in. The cluster also appears in Homer's Odyssey and Iliad, referenced as a signal for the beginning and the end of planting season. And the beginning of planting season is May. And so we're not only using it to kind of signify when the men should go out to sail and when they should come back, but we're also using it as a signifier for when we should plant and when we should not. And so, being that the planting season for them started in the month of May, I probably should have not been so gung-ho about putting all my tomato plants out. So I should have paid attention to that old historical reference, which we're now paying for. According to Hermetic traditions, the 7 stars open seekers to a more refined level of consciousness. And so a lot of these peoples are different peoples are referencing specifically a higher level of consciousness and light energy when interacting with this constellation and the energies that are coming from it. So, and even the Hermetic traditions are referencing a more refined level of consciousness. Viewed as a school of learning by Hermeticists, only those who have been purified of energetic blocks to the subtle body, invitation to and initiation into Pleiadian wisdom teachings. And so what they're also saying in this part of history is these teachings come spontaneously during sleep or deep meditation. The Pleiades are also viewed as our solar system's source of electrical energy from the little sister star Electra. And I thought that was very interesting too. Now there's more history to this. In Bronze Age Europe, the autumn solstice and winter equinox were associated with grief and mourning. And that's because the death portals are open at this time, and we see a lot of loss during these specific months. So at the solstice, the Pleiades would rise in the east as the sun sets in the west. Thus, the association with mourning and the passing of summer, as well as the harvest season, was noted by the constellation of Pleiades. In Scandinavian or Viking cultures, the Pleiades were thought of as Freya's chicks, which I thought was so cute. Freya being the Norse god of love, beauty, and fertility. For protection, some would paint 7 spots representing the 7 stars on themselves or hen houses. Here's something very interesting. Ladybugs were also associated with the cluster because of the 7 spots on their wings. And anytime a ladybug lights on you, it's considered lucky because of the 7 spots on their wings that relates to the Pleiades cluster. Hey to Martha, good to see you. So she says, I hope to visit Mount Shasta in California one day, soon to connect more deeply with the Pleiadian energy there. Oh, that would be so awesome. Let me know when you go. Maybe we can do a group trip. Would that not be so freaking awesome to do like a sponsored trip where we could do some really cool meditations there to connect with that type of energy? Maybe do guided meditation for a group there. That would be so much fun. Now, this information again is channeled because what's thought that the Pleiadians are born within 5-dimensional space-time, which overflows with light, love, and creativity, and that these beings possess healing properties, incredible talents, and abilities. Now, so the question is, are they related to us? Absolutely. A lot of people have channeled the same thing, that the Pleiadians demonstrate that they are distant relations of us as humans. And so that's why there's a motivation there to help humanity achieve world peace and prosperity. So the relation also forms part of the answer to the question, what is a Pleiadian starseed? And starseed simply means that we are genetically we're genetically coming from that energy, in that maybe their energies have seeded this existence, maybe physically and maybe also energetically through what's it called, morphogenic field alteration. um, Maybe if it's not physically seeding this existence, maybe it was an energetic alteration of the morphogenic field of us as humans. So these otherworldly beings strive to connect with us and correct the course of our destiny and our evolution. So it's super important to learn how to establish connections with other people and cooperation with other people, so that we can elevate our energy and move up in this dimension to the next dimension. And as we lose this body and we change our morphogenic field, maybe that change in the morphogenic field will fit a different dimension as we move higher and higher. I hope that makes sense to you. So Amber says, I lay on my back porch and stargaze under the constellation. I'm very appreciative for their support. Absolutely. And what I wanted to bring to you tonight was, what's the history and what are the actual facts that we have. I didn't want to bring you a lot of channeling or what I think that they are. I want you to know what the history and what the facts are, so that you can connect with it yourself and make your own determination. So, there are a lot of star seeds that, because our society brings us to a lower level, right? It prevents people who are star seeds from becoming aware of who they are. And so, I'm going to ask you to share the video with people you think might benefit from this. Maybe it will awaken them. Maybe they'll stay asleep, who knows? But there's a chance that they could become conscious of their light energy and how it's connected to the Pleiadians. Okay, now here's another thing I want you to go and watch, because this is more documentation about the existence of the Pleiadians. They are also called the Tall Whites. In the last episode of the Y Files, and so what you need to do is to go onto YouTube and just type in the Y Files. And the most recent episode is documentation about interaction with the Tall Whites. And it talks about a book by Charles Hall, who was a former weather observer at the Nellis Air Force Base, and his specific interaction with the Tall Whites in a certain area of the base, that he had to go out remotely and do observation on weather. And he did this by himself, and he had interactions with the Tall Whites in this area, and it's all in his book. And the video by the Y Files just kind of briefly tells his encounter, and it is so interesting. And so that's another documented case of interaction with the Tall Whites. Now, what the Tall Whites had communicated to him was that they were in cooperation with our government to exist in certain areas. So I don't know about that, but because I can't see our government cooperate with anybody, but it certainly is an interesting thing to consider. So Martha says, I recommend a book called Letters to a Starseed by Rebecca Campbell. Absolutely. That is such a good one to read. And maybe Martha will have a book in the future about a similar topic. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Martha, if you wouldn't mind, drop a link in the comments about your book on being an empath, because I really think that a high number of people who are empathic are definitely star seeds, and I think a big majority of them really haven't awakened. And Amber, you might be one. Only you can answer that, but I'm thinking you probably are. So, and I do think that a lot of people who have high functioning, um, empathic abilities or maybe psychic abilities, um, they are definitely star seeds. And I'm sorry, over here on YouTube, I think I have missed all the comments. Hey, special shout out to my Patreon buddy, Mr. Charles Biggs. Good to see you. Angela over here on YouTube, and Jan and Ina. Sorry I missed you guys. And yes, and as a matter of fact, Martha, Charles is over here on YouTube, and he is seconding the author for Rebecca Campbell on that being a good book to get and read. So she says, yes, my awakening journey started by learning I was an empath, and then naturally was led to my old starred seed origins. I love that. All right, you guys. I hope you all have a fabulous week and that you enjoyed this information. The next show coming up is going to be about the Anunnaki and how they intermesh with the Pleiadians, because there's a lot of controversy over that. And so Amber also says, I have heavy Cherokee and Blackfoot great granddad was full blood. Yeah, their legends are all, connected to the Pleiadians. So this has been a good show. Thank you guys for showing up. Like I said, I want to challenge you to share this, to spread the word so that we can have more of these star seeds awakening. I will see you next week. Kisses from Kentucky. Bye, guys.